quality enough in this squad to not be in that position coming in?
I think it's going to be another similar year. I think they're going to compete with the bottom few clubs, and they've got a good blend. They've got young and senior players. Today I think will be too tough for them.
Alright, Leicester then up against Manchester City. This match with you on Sky Sports Football. But if you want to watch the Manchester United West Ham game, you are going to leave us shortly. You're reminded that was a 15-minute delay to kick off in that one, but you can watch it on Sky Sports Next. Right, a big first 45 ahead. Manchester City leading forward in the first half WSL action. Leicester has conceded the joint most before half time. So, buckle up for a 0-0 in the first 45 in the company of Jane Ludlow, who's alongside Ellen Pepper. Thank you, Caroline. Welcome to the King Power Stadium. Manchester City return from the international break, sitting 3 points clear at the top of the table. Since the opening day defeat to Chelsea, they have not put a foot wrong. Leicester sit ninth with their only WSL win coming against the league's bottom team back in September. Leicester have failed to win in their last 7 league games. Elena Leipzig has 2 clean sheets this season. Julie Thibault comes into the back line. Hannah Kane shone for Wales during the international break. Elise Tyler makes her first start since the beginning of November. Shannon O'Brien can become the first Leicester player to score in 3 successive WSL games. Sophie Buchon isn't yet back in contact training. We won't see her until the new year. Uteran Tyler is also a long-term absentee with a meniscus injury. Andre Egler was named manager of the month for the 2nd consecutive time. Mayaka Yamashita secured her 2nd clean sheet of the season against Manchester United. Kirsten Catsfry has been on fire and was named WSL Player of the Month. Laura Blinkela-Brown has shone next to the ever-present Kantagawa. Lauren Hempers scored in her last 3 starts for club and country. And Khadija Shaw has 9 goals in 8 appearances against Leicester. Carolyn and Lily Murphy returned to the matchday squad to add to the attacking depth of the league top scorers. Well, quadruple winning Arsenal captain and former Wales boss Jane Ludlow, who do you have your eyes on today?
Hey Alex, well, we're first going to look at Leicester City, so we're looking at number 27, Shannon O'Brien, and she's the player that's in goal scoring form for Leicester, and they're going to need her today. We've already heard from the manager, Rick Passmore, saying they have to be ruthless in front of goal, because it probably aren't going to get a huge amount of chances, but she has to put it in the back of the net when she has the opportunity today. And then we go to Manchester City, and a player who is in top form for her national team and her club right now, and that's Kirsten Catsfry, 18 for Manchester City. She's captain for the club today, and she's an out-and-out top-class defender, but she is so impactful in the attacking half these days. She's created so many assists for the team, and I'm sure we're going to see her high on the park today, trying to create more and get those points in the bag for Manchester City.
Well, she loves this role as captain as well, someone who has really been embraced by the Manchester City fans, as has Andre Egler, manager of the month for the 2nd time in a row. And the impact he has made has been incredible. And we have 2 managers in the dugout who have so much experience in the game. Rick Passmore, or someone who has history with West Ham and of course Notts County over the years. So while the Foxes hunt for their first win in the WSL since September, Manchester City determined to extend their lead at the top. Sent out to play by Yamashita. Will be Asmita Ale. Take the throw. She's spoken this week about her role changing under Rick Passmore, how much she's enjoying it. Thibault.
Sophia coming into the front line today for Leicester. They've struggled in the first half of games, but looking to get things started quickly here. Much there to challenge for Yamashita. Harvey, league winner with Spain during the international break. Unused sub for both of those games against Germany. Knack. We'll talk about Kirsten Kasperai's role evolving under Rick Passmore and someone who, Andre Jeglert's even, but someone who really developed under the guidance of Manchester City is Rebecca Knack. Wide to Kirsten Kasperai. City charging forward, it's palmed away, a big opening, not taken, Bunny Shaw! To the but doesn't get too much on it in the end, and it's easy for the goalkeeper to pick up. 4-4 on Tuesday against South Korea for the Netherlands. O'Brien lets herself back, and well, you can see the rain coming down. Quite a saturated pitch in places, Jane. Yeah, it's a proper December day, isn't it, Ellen? But to be fair, thinking a long, long time ago, days like this I used to love. Particularly defensively, because it does allow you to tackle from a bit further away when you get on the grass. Leipzig. Well, I've always been proud of their pitch here at Leicester City. I think Mikel, I remember her saying when she was in charge, one of the reasons why they had such a good home form was the quality of the pitch and just a lack of injuries at one time as well, down to it. Fujino. Kasperai. Sophia. Tagawa has a presence in the WSL this season. Sheila Brown. For Fujino. There's too much on it. Said before the game he needs the fans to get behind them. Manchester City travelling in their numbers as well, as they always do. Of course, have plenty to cheer about at this point in the season. game, and why wouldn't you? When you look at the team they're up against today, you know, sitting top of the table, best start probably they've ever had, and obviously wanting to compete for the title this year. So it is going to be a tough challenge, but now we're 12 minutes in, 0-0 so far, and it'll be an interesting game.
They've made such quick start to games this season. Manchester City scored 3 goals in the first half against Manchester United. Last game in the WSL before the international break, backed that up with a 2-0 victory over Nottingham Forest in the League Cup. Knack scored against Manchester United. Right. Keeler Brown took off the pressure. The free kick. Rose over the top. Gower will fall down. Hemp. Well, she gets everywhere. Jenny's Chinaman. Yeah, she's been in the game a lot this first 30 minutes today, and you know she needed to be in that right place at the right time then, because this is the threat, isn't it? Ball over to the left-hand side. Hasagawa, as we expect, lovely to bring the ball down. Lauren Hemp reading the play and making the movement, but then good clearance from Hyman. Hasagawa. Swinging it hands high, punched away, almost forced over. Headed back in by Kasparov. Hanging around Hem. Pulls the Bunny Shaw! Well, she, in the first 14 minutes, has come ever so close on 2 occasions now. Oh, she's had a few touches in around that 6-yard box already, hasn't she? But look, from a Leicester City perspective, it's still 0-0. But you see the ball obviously just bobbling around, just cleared to the edge of the box, comes back in from Kasparov. Shot from Lauren Hemp, ricochet over to Bunny Shaw. You'd point your house on her finishing this one, wouldn't you? But not quite today so far for Bunny Shaw, just a little bit wide of the poster. How many times do we see those nestle in the back of the net from Bunny Shaw? It remains with 14 minutes played, 0-0. Israel. Alex Garcia. Henry signing for Kristianstad. Fiawa. Knack. Manchester City fans would have liked to Rebecca Knack this season. She had a meniscus injury during the Euros over summer. She came back. Goals in her last 4 goals in her last 5 starts even for Manchester City. Rebecca Knack is quite spectacular numbers for a centre-back. Yeah, look, if you can get your centre-back on the goal sheet even better, doesn't it? You have to rely on Bunny Shaw all the time. But look, for me, even more important is her in possession game, as we just saw in the build-up there. She breaks lines by the detail of her longer passing. It's really impactful to break teams down. The most set-piece goals this season. Hasagawa with both arms raised, and no doubt will be looking for the head of Bunny Shaw, but Rebecca Knack as it scored and punched away again. Well, they haven't been the most confident clearances from Janina Leipzig, and Manchester City win another corner on the near side.
Pressure is building, even first part of the game. We've just seen obviously the in-swinger coming in. She doesn't have to clear her away from the goal. Look, she gets it away from the danger area, but here we see another corner coming in. Lauren Hemp. Well played. All the pressure has been Manchester City, still looking for the opening goal.
Where you going, Macca? Macca, don't come out wide, go with the runner.
Gower. And Keela Brown. Knack. Looks for goal herself. Narrowly wide. Yeah, why not? The space opened up, didn't it? You can see, she's halfway in the opposition half, bit of time and space, and tried her luck with her left foot. You see Manchester City having a bit of time and space again in around the edge of the box. Becky's now picking it up, getting her head up, seeing the space, and just pulling it a little bit too wide here. Obviously, she doesn't get it on target, but yeah, pressure is building from a Manchester City perspective right now. That's his ball. Cut by Wahhabi, and here's Miedemar. Feed the ball back to him. Well watched by Lee Simon and Nita Rail. Stop it. Looking over the top. The run of O'Brien. Defensive work from Jade Rose. Ball back into Leicester possession. McLaughlin. Tierney to one side. Okay. Shaw. Really getting that there. Tierney just getting the free kick there, a little bit too physical from Bunny Shaw's perspective, but we're just seeing Miedemar just waiting for some treatment. But while we wait for that, Ellen, the two players who are going to be really important from a Leicester City perspective today is the two midfielders. Look, my eyes are automatically drawn to that area, whichever game I watch, but I think Tierney and McLaughlin have a big role to play today in preventing opportunities against their goal. They have to protect that back line. Yes, there's five in the back line behind, but there's some, magicians in and around their spaces, and they have a huge role in intercepting balls and breaking up Manchester City attacks today. Whereas Viviana Miedemar continues to receive treatment. We'll see. Record goal scorer in the WSL, 90 goals over the course of a incredible career so far. It just looks a bit innocuous there, Jane Ludlow. Pressure. Yeah, definitely don't think that it was a foul in any shape or form, but whether she's got a knock to the back of her knee or she's twisted it slightly, it seems to be that's what they're assessing right now. It's knee rather than ankle or foot. Hopefully she'll be okay and she can carry on. Well, the challenges of the last couple of years, whether it be at Arsenal or at Manchester City for Viviana Miedemar, has been injuries. Hard at times for her to get a run in the team, consecutive games, and they've had to work hard to find the right way to play her, of course, with Bunny Shaw in front of her. It's really interesting the position she takes up now, that 10 role behind Bunny Shaw, and I think people would assume she's that out and out number 9 up top, threatening him behind all the time, but she has a lot of quality. She can do that role if she needs to do that role, but actually her ability to float in between lines and pick up the spaces as she needs to is one heck of a threat, isn't it, to have Bunny Shaw up top and then somebody with the skill set of Miedemar in behind. So just one goal in the WSL so far, and that is at London City Lionesses, where Brighton have also had a penalty save. That game on Sky Sports Plus, the delayed kick-off of Manchester United against West Ham on Sky Sports Mix. It looks like Viviana Miedemar will be able to continue. Now, one of the benefits is when you look down the
squad list today for Manchester City. The return of Carolyn and Lily Murphy as well, who we're seeing for the first time since the opening day defeat to Chelsea. She suffered that shoulder injury. Kane, delivery headed away. Played completely. Evo will pick up the charge. It will be his first corner of the game for Leicester City. Waiting for the instruction, as hasn't quite yet come, the invitation from referee Stevie Croft. There does come, and Fiona Meadham returning into the action, moving well. Comes the corner.
Opportunity here for Leicester. We just see O'Brien getting out in front of Rebecca Kanak, and she does get a little bit of space, and she looks difficult because she's coming away from the goal to then open her body up and try and, you know, get the flick on right towards the goal. Difficult one for her, but managing to create a little bit of space for herself.
Right, Pagino. Kane chasing. Trying to force the error from the goalkeeper. Tagawa. Still the ball out to the side space. It will be a Leicester throw. Lifts up it. Turn. Brings it into space. By Kanak. Tierney steers it away. Comes in from McLaughlin. Now Hemp is free. Steve Sonny Shaw, but of course she needs Simon with all her experiences far too wide to that ball. Rose. Fry with plenty of space ahead of her. Tagawa plays it across. Shaw. Turn. Wahhabi. Across to Heb. Pings up. Kasparai will try and get there. That just fizzles out. There will be a corner. Well, the voice that you can hear booming, that's to the far side of where we are, is Rick Passmore, who is no stranger, coming down to the touchline and sharing his insights to his players as Hatagawa walks forward. Ina Brown will chase, so will Tierney. That's first. Heb. Control of the ball. Kane charges forward. Ale. Previously of Tottenham Hotspur. Aston Villa. Brooklyn. Got the pressure of Ina Brown ever so well. I mean, Terrell has the space, but doesn't have the pace to get on the ball.
Disappointing in the end, but Scotland does so well under pressure. She sees the pressure coming, takes the first touch away, and then good opportunity to create the attack, but unfortunately that final pass doesn't have quite the right detail on it.
Tagawa. There's Rose, the Canadian international. So far this season. Has Kasparai, of course, striding forward. Shaw ahead of her, looks for Shaw. Out by Leforet. Pagino. 3 goals this season. Japanese international. LeBron with the pace.
their big priority is they close those spaces, track the runners into the box, no free players. But in all seriousness, Ellen, Leicester City are working very hard out of possession right now. They are keeping the space between the lines pretty tight, so players like Miedemar aren't necessarily getting the space to use, but there's a lot of possession for Manchester City right now.
They've only scored once, Leicester City, in the first half this season. Manchester City have 9 in the first half in comparison. They'll be hopeful they can stay in this game if they can stay out the first half without conceding. Leicester, so far, 27 minutes on the clock, they have been able to do. Gino. Away pass, good delivery, looking for the head of Hebb.
That delivery deserves somebody to get on the end of it. We've got a cross from Gino after the quick 1v1 getting past their player.
Miedemar, left for Hebb. Tagawa asking for the ball. Gino gets there, Hatagawa with a chance. Simon with the last ditch defending. Wahabi. Good high by Tierney, headed on by Ale. Wonder how long Leicester City can take the brunt of the Manchester City pressure. Wahabi. O'Brien. Hit. Chance to change the game, but Dave Rose has done herself well. Gino. Capterai. Corner.
Good defending in the end from 31 from Leicester City perspective. Wavy there, but it's that transition moment when they do win the ball back, they have to try and retain. They're probably not going to get too many opportunities today in the opposition half, but when they do get that space to utilise, the detail from a Leicester City perspective has to be a little bit better.
And it's always all eyes on Bunny Shaw. And there is a corner. Exceptional in the air. Corner played short. Tagawa picks it up. Cochran chasing. And Keeler Brown.
Some good box defending from a Leicester perspective. What they're not doing is when they do turn it over, can they retain it? They're giving it straight back to Manchester City.
Causing them a whole lot of hard work. Wahabi against Dale and Keeler Brown. Against Kyman.
Really good play there from Kyman because she has no target player. There's 10 players behind the ball from a Leicester City perspective, so who do you hit when you get it? But they've managed to retain it so far.
Well, they've had the time together as a unit, Leicester City. 5 players, including Yanis Kyman, going away on international duty. Suffer was a virus in the camp before the Crystal Palace game, and a heavy defeat, of course, to the team who they'd expect to beat in the League Cup. So 30 minutes played, still 0-0. You can see the action areas there in the last 10 minutes, Jane Ludlow. It's all been Manchester City.
Yeah, it has. But look, if you look at the scoreline, which is the most important stat, it's still 0-0. So you can look at it different ways. Leicester have defended the box really well. Manchester City may be a little bit frustrated with their decision making in and around the box. But yes, it's pretty much one-way traffic, but no goals scored so far.
Alex got it. Next players go down and need treatment. Icelandic international, and of course she'll be facing England in the upcoming World Cup qualifiers.
bit hurt. To be fair, it's not a bad thing from a Leicester City perspective, having 5 minutes to just catch their breath, go and have a chat with Rick Passmore, the head coach.
Well, I would say for other teams, of course, always an opportunity to go over and chat to the coach. They don't really need to leave their positioning to hear the booming voice of Rick Passmore.
But they don't, to be fair. He's given a lot of clear, good direction to the team. There's some of it is motivational, but a lot of it is tactical and just trying to help the players as they progress through the game today.
It looks like we will have a change here. Unable to continue. It is Emily Van Egmond, the player who will be coming on, the summer signing player.
I'm sure she'll be looking forward to joining the action today. Disappointing for Eric Stottier, who's obviously hurt and can't continue in the match, but no, I'm sure Van Egmond will enjoy the opportunity to get on the pitch and compete.
Scored the winning goal, and the only goal in the only WSL win this season for Leicester City. Not going down to 10 players against Liverpool. Of course, the WSL's bottom side. Looks like we'll have to wait for the next break and play to see the inclusion of the Australian international. The WSL club only arriving back home early on Thursday morning. Lena Wahhabi fighting ball once again. Bunny Shaw onto the roof of the net. Well, that's 3 now, Jane Ludlow, where she has come so close, but it's not quite clicking today.
That's a great opportunity. Manchester City go to the space on that upside. Wahhabi with the overlapping run, and it's a pinpoint cross for Bunny Shaw. Again, you'd expect her to bury that. Not quite happening for her or Manchester City today. Good opportunity created on the left-hand side, but no goal.
6 goals so far in the WSL this season, and on any other day she might have had a first-half hat-trick, but the scoreline remains 0-0 in this battle of two cities. Leicester ending well so far. First-half changes, then forces Van Egmond takes her first touch of the ball. Jade Rose. Wahhabi. Gino. Wahhabi. Closely watched this game so far. Van Egmond. And a heavy ball to the side of the face, but as Mita Rail, quite delayed response.
Yeah, so and quite a look at that, Ellen. Again, look, we see Manchester City in possession, managing to build in the wide area. See Lauren Hemp here, look, she's quite a bit of pace behind this cross, and it's hit Ale really in the face. So let's hope she's okay. Medical staff on to make sure that she is okay. But yeah, from a Manchester City perspective, they're moving the ball around pretty quickly. They get into the final third, and for me, it's just that final detail, isn't it? In and around the box, Because, well, there was clear chances for Bunny Shaw, and a few others have had some attempts in and around the box, but no goals so far.
Well, it's interesting listening to Andre Eglert in his press conference this week, and he said that you'll be able to battle against Arsenal, Chelsea, United, but if you want to win the title, you need to beat Leicester, and then listed off a few other teams as well. These are the games where you expect to win, but being able to deliver in them is where a title is won. How much do you agree with that, Jane?
Yeah, I don't disagree at all, and we can see right now that he's having a chat to Keela Brown. So to be fair, she's like a tempo changer. Really good to watch her play today in possession. As soon as she gets the ball, she does change that tempo. She ups it a notch or two, which is really impactful for her team. It's just a little bit ahead of her final third decision making right now from a pitch perspective. But going back to Andre Iglesias, very experienced manager. He understands how to win titles. He has done in many countries, particularly Sweden, many years ago. Obviously he's been a national team coach more recent times, but very well known in the women's game at the top level for many years. I mean, even when I was a younger player, he was a manager against me, so really good to see him still involved at the top level and impacting the game.
He really has changed this Manchester City squad. Felt like they were in a slump, unable to get the best out of the players that they had, and he's injected life into this team. Well, when you mention the likes of Keela Brown, he's on the ball now, giving the youngsters an opportunity, those who weren't always getting a look in. You have to be really patient after joining in February of 2024. Now our opportunity has come, and it's seen her into the England squad as well.
Yeah, it's great, you know, young players getting an opportunity, showing their talent and being able to perform under pressure is one of the best things in the game. For me personally, it's the bit I enjoy seeing. So good to see her on the pitch today.
Of course, Sydney Lohman picking up a knock on international duty, but a high-profile player brought in during the summer window, and Keela Brown keeping her out of the squad for, of course, the early part of the season.
Yeah, I think we've heard many times from Andre, the head coach, that competition is important. He wants the squad of top-level players who are competing day in, day out to get on that team sheet. Because look, it's going to increase the levels of everybody in the squad if that happens.
Ben Eggman looks for Ale. O'Brien arriving. Headed away. Another way that Kirsten Kasperai can get back and defend is, of course, a huge asset to Manchester City, as is Lauren Hemp, who's up against Janice Kleiman once again. Viviana Miedemar has gone down. And now, joining her on the deck is Leila Wahabi. She's always a player who will be targeted, and everyone from a defensive perspective for Leicester will do their best to try and shut down the attack launched so regularly by Viviana Miedemar. The defender at set piece here now. Free kick for Manchester City. Yui Hasegawa waits to take it. Headed up, looping ball, headed down, great save, excellent save from Janina Leipzig, who made herself so big at the near post.
Great save in the end. Right, so the delivery wasn't necessarily what was expected, but Manchester City made the most of it. Here they are again.
Miedemar should have hoped for better than that. Hasegawa threads it through the legs of the referee. Cross to Gino now. Hemp. Kasperai. Back to Hemp. Michael down again, holding a hand I think this time.
Well, she's putting her body on the line today. That's the second moment in the last 10 where she got a ball smashed into her body. We're just seeing the free kick here. You can see it's quite a flat delivery, edge of box, but then it gets flicked forward by Rebecca Knack. Oh, that does look, that's going in, isn't it? Great goalkeeping in the end to cover that space in the near post. But that looks like it's going in. She does really well to react. You know, the ball is what? A yard away from her, and she reacts really well to keep that ball out was from Miedemar there at the near post.
Had some standout performances this season in Leicester, just kept 2 clean sheets. So looking at particularly the clean sheet statistics, might not always recognise that, but against Chelsea, she stood exceptionally strong.
Yeah, the reality is today she's going to have a good game if her team are going to if they're going to come away with some points from this game.
Right. Rose. He's demanding the absolute maximum from his team, Rick Passmore.
Well, they're shifting defensively really well. There's no spaces opening up when City are going, right to left, left to right to try and switch the play, open up the spaces centrally, and those spaces aren't naturally occurring in Leicester's organisation defensively. They're working extremely hard for the manager.
We're approaching the half-time break in terms of regular time. Imagine we should have a fair chunk of additional time added on to the injuries that we've seen through the first 45 minutes. Mid-Rose, control, is down by Peter Ale. Simon, Lachlan. Against the player that you'll know in Glenkeeler Brown, both spending time at Aston Villa. Former Brooklyn moved on to Rangers, and of course Glenkeeler Brown here at Manchester City. Hardly so much of the play coming through her in this first half. Slowly moving City back. Still goalless.
See how compact those spaces are centrally. Leicester doing really well, keeping space tight between the lines. City still in possession, but a little bit frustrated right now with trying to break those lines.
Shaw, she find a way through, keeps the ball at her feet, she's forced out wide, Bunny short. Well defended by Quavic. Won't get that. It will be a goal kick for Leicester City and Inina Leipzig.
An unusual error. A passing error from Hasegawa. Not something we usually see.
No, not for sure.
In possession, she usually nails it. One of the best players around, fills in the game for her team. But not quite happening today in this first half for Manchester City.
They need to find a way to unlock the Leicester City defence. Andre Egler. A war of attrition so far. City has shown defensive brilliance. Manchester City so potent in front of goal. 23 scored this season. 20 more. Rose comes forward, side, Kasperai, punched away by Leipzig, brought down by Wahhabi. Keeps up nicely, he can't get there. Wahhabi again.
Centre-backs from a Leicester City perspective are actually doing really well to clear the threat right now, whether that's aerially or it's coming on the deck. Bure, Swaby, Hyman, doing really well to clear the danger so far.
Hasegawa put over this corner. of set-piece goals come from the England superstar. On target so far, but Manchester City had the touches in the opposition box. They've always been crowded out though by Leicester City, who had 2 shots themselves, none on target, nothing yet really to trouble Ayaka Yamashita. Hasegawa, Hemp has space, goes down quickly by Esme Jarrell. Hemp looking for the header, Shaw. They're having to throw their bodies on the line, Leicester City.
Yeah, and again, we'll see the centre-back stand up and be counted. You know, there's a threat in the wide area, the ball is coming in. They position themselves well. But sure, huge challenge that should have got on the end of that and had a little bit more accuracy on the details. But Correa's doing enough there, you know, just putting her body on the line, getting in the way, causing a problem for the attackers as they're coming in. And to be fair, from a Leicester City perspective, you know, if you're a young player and you want to know how to defend the box, there's been some really good examples from a team perspective. The nearest player going out, putting their body on the line, getting the block, and wherever the ball goes next player reacting. And that organisation has been impressive at times. And you can see, look, there's 2, out of all the opportunities City has had, there's 2 on target because of that pressure coming up against them.
And they've shown as well, over the course of this season, that they do have the pace as well to hit teams on the counter-attack. And Kane, of course, is able to do that. And then Michon, who won't see in a Leicester shirt until the new year, able to find a way through against Arsenal, as it is Kane who receives the advice from Rick Passmore. Not 1 in 5 meetings as top county manager with Manchester City. 0-0. Hyman can't get clean purchase on the ball. Manchester City look to take advantage. Knack. Keeler Brown. Cugino. Got him working incredibly hard in this first half. Wahabi. Very rarely this season have Manchester City been frustrated in this fashion. Rose with the delivery, looking at Miedema. Wahabi.
You are a Manchester City fan at the moment, you probably are going to be a little bit frustrated, Ellen. I think, you know, yes, they've had lots of possession. They've had possession high on the pitch, as we saw the stat earlier in the game. For me, I'll be honest, I'd like to see them, when they turn the ball over, transition that a little bit quicker, because once this Leicester City team get in organised defensive shape in their own half, it's really hard to break down, but there are moments when they do turn the ball over in their own half, they could break quicker, and they could actually then exploit the spaces that are available, but not necessarily something that's the focus of their game right now.
They've been treated this season, the Manchester City fans. 17 goals have scored more than Leicester City in the league. And they add another to that tally here, slightly short. Well watched by Hassani. Machino. Against Thibaut. Machino looking for Shaw. Once again it's wide.
Well, look, that was a good example. Speaking about that transition, they win the ball in their own half, they go forward a little bit quicker. You can see there's just more spaces for them to exploit. We end up here with the ball on the right-hand side with Fujino, and again, as usual, she delivers some great balls in centre of the 6-yard, and who is it? Bunny Shaw right on the end of it. But it looks like he gets a little bit underneath it. You know, the timing isn't quite right, and again, it's kind of a trend of the game, unfortunately, for her today. Managing not to get it on target, unfortunately.
9 in 8 appearances against Leicester City. Nice big chances today for Bunny Shaw. None of them tucked away. It remains 0-0. 62 minutes on the clock.
Leicester City at the break, 0-0. My Campbell's here. Rachel Corsey's made the long walk for her over to the screen. Is it that? Are they frustrating them, or has Manchester City just not been clinical enough?
Well, I think City have had a couple of chances that we get the chance to look at them. You probably are going to say Bunny Shaw's had the most of them. Maybe could have done better. But I think Leicester have been very good. Rick Passmore said at the start of the game it was going to be resilient, it was going to be difficult to break down, and we've probably had a few question marks to say, well, can they do that against a City team that's flying? And you have to say they've done very well. When we look at the clip, just to start with, I don't think this is a shape you can maintain for the full game, but they have the 6 along the back line, but these two here in front have done a very good job. Liv McLaughlin up against Laura Blinkova-Brown, their friends, they came through at Villa just at the beginning of my time there. They know each other very well. For me, that makes it difficult. But then these two again in front, really disciplined job, a lot of ground to cover. And you just see how they shift. They don't want the ball to come into the central area. See again, forcing it wide. Those are positions we saw before the game, how Kasparai is normally very good. She wants to create an isolation and get in behind there. Leicester City have numbers to make that little combination a lot more difficult to execute efficiently. And you just see they force it back, works really hard, never leaves the central area. And that diffuses the danger. In the end, a little bit of trickery from Fujino, tries to create something. They've got enough cover behind the ball and they deal with that. And that's kind of been the flow of the game in a lot of cases. Difficulty for Leicester is when you do then win the ball and you have so many players behind it, it allows Man City to counter-press, win the ball back, and it's really difficult for Leicester to break forward. But defensively, they've been very good.
Just briefly, Megan, that's what you want to see from Leicester going into the second half, just a bit more up front.
Yeah, I think when you do regain possession and style, what can you do with it? Obviously, they're so pinned back in their own third that it's such a long way away to score a goal and to get into the opposition's half. And I think it's that quality then when you do have the ball to be able to get the numbers up and around, and you don't want to isolate players in the final third, because then ultimately it's just going to come back against you. And when you do start pressing forward, you're going to leave gaps between the lines, and that's what City want to exploit. So I think from a Leicester point of view, staying compact, staying resilient and staying together is what Rick Passmore wants to do, and maybe a point to get something from the game would be better than nothing.
Yeah, 0-0 then at the break for this Leicester City side. But certainly Manchester City have had their moments. 14 shots in the first half, the most they've had in the first half of the WSL this season. But at the moment, Bunny is being kept out by the boxes.
Stadium. Goals scored in the WSL this season. You've been prolific in front of goal. Had their chances today. Time to need them up. Thibaut. They have to bring the ball away. Knack. Okay, Ledlow alongside me. We were questioning whether changes might be made for Andre Yebler at the break. And comes forward, advantage play, keeps going, tries to set it up, and almost cleared away. Fajino there, Kasparai now. It looked initially like Thibaut had done enough. Indeed, the shot coming in, and now out for a Manchester City throw.
Yeah, and again we see Leicester City doing what they need to do in the 6-yard box and clearing the threat. Yeah, we did expect some changes, to be fair, but maybe in the next 10 minutes, if the scoreline stays as it is, we may see some, but not quite yet.
Hoping to make the changes and the impact required with those who started on the pitch. Meet them up. One of them, Kasparai. Big delivery, headed away by Kaiman. 37 years old. Jane, what's the game she's had today? Two-time Champions League. Good.
The compactness in the central areas of the pitch right now. Hasegawa trying to draw players out, but they're not going. They're not opening those spaces behind them, you know, to expose the space in front of the back line. The Leicester City defenders are very disciplined today, and that two-man midfield screen in front of the back line is working really effectively. Wahhabi.
Thibaut slanted away from Fajino. Front of her. Having a knock in the first half, Miedemar, but moving well now and looking to get on to the end of this ball. Be sure we'll get there first. Miedemar jogging into position. Short. Keeps going. Khadija short. By Wahhabi. Sliding in with Scheiben. It's Hasegawa. Kasparai. Brown out. Kane. Wheeler Brown. Runner at the back post. Controlled by Israel.
That was really good control. I'm not sure if she meant the first touch, but really good in the end.
Kane chasing and Yamashita gets there first. Well, she's hard to beat. Okay, Yamashita.
Opportunity for the counter-attack moment there from a Leicester City perspective, a little bit higher up the park than they have been for most of the game. Today, here we see it, obviously we've got a break on, got McLaughlin playing in Hannah Kane, but really good positioning from a goalkeeper perspective, and Manchester City to clear the threat.
And with a touch, coming on in the first half, will change. He left on the bench going into this game, of course. travel with Australia during the international break. Forced to come on early with Alex Toppett with an injury first half. Tagawa. Kasparov has space ahead of her.
Good example there of Leicester City passing on players so they can keep the organisation. There's no space between units. You know, they're passing on players really well. They're doing the hard graft of tracking players when they need to.
Hempel winning. Free kick. In this area.
Now this is a dangerous position. Just watch the replay here. You can see great turn by Lauren Hemp. That's a late tackle, isn't it? It's one that maybe in hindsight you probably shouldn't have made. Especially right on the edge of the box where it is. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of the City players, the Manchester City players, who would like to have a chance to strike this one.
She scored an exceptional goal against Manchester United from not too far away from this distance, Lauren Hemp. It's Yuri Hasegawa who has adjusted the ball. Just there behind. Had a goal in the WSL this season, Yuri Hasegawa, and two in the League Cup. And Hemp. Hasegawa steps up, looping ball, too much height on it. Catch out, Julian the Leipzig. Big distribution that should have wanted there.
No, we're not tactically safe from a Leicester City perspective. It is the least amount of risk possible when playing out to the back. We haven't seen them play out to the back at all. It's direct from the goalkeeper, whether that's dead ball situations or from, you know, when it's in our hands. So no change there.
Able to sit with the pressure so far, but here's Alba Fagino. Good delivery. Doesn't get there. High up again, Keith Brown jumping. Trying to turn, can't get the shot away.
But again, we see Boré where she needs to be. You know, big, strong centre-back, centre of the 6-yard clearing threat. And that's been a trend of the day as well.
Trying to get more creative, you can see there through Kirsten Kasparov. Turning quickly, looking for the run of Bunny Shaw. Game to go before the winter break for Leicester City against London City Lionesses Sunday. Manchester City, the League Cup quarter final, the weekend before Christmas against West Ham. Mojave, Hemp,
as well. You know, they've done everything they've needed to do defensively. It's really good performance from them. I'm sure they'll be very happy so far, 55 minutes into the game, and they're clearing every threat that comes their way.
I think Rick Passmore must be happy with them as well, because we haven't heard from him in a little while. And Harvey coming forward, his head face to turn, away by Boré.
Just see her organising the line as well. If she's playing as a central centre-back of a five-player defence. And whether it's 1v1 situations or whether she's having to organise the line, she's doing a very good job so far.
They're trying to make those runs off the shoulder now. Oh, the right opening to the right gap. Still 55 minutes, 56 on the clock. 0-0. We don't play till later on this afternoon. Big title rivals at the moment. Manchester City. Hep. The physicality well. Here's Leicester City who come away with it. Kane. Oh, stay on her feet. He continues it. Kane. Keeler Brown. Plays the drop. And O'Brien.
Pointed in the end from Hammy King. Does really well to break on the left hand side. Still on the back. See what she's trying to do. It's the far side. Good at space. But the distance is probably defending from Manchester City's perspective, and here they are again, back in possession.
They're sitting so deep, Leicester City, when they are able to break free, they just don't quite have the pace, the personnel to carry the ball all the way. 88% Manchester City possession in the second half. Nothing yet, James, to show for it.
No. And look, I mentioned the end of the first half. There are moments when Leicester City do attack and they're far more stretched and there's a turnover from City, I think the players a bit quicker and exploit that space transitionally.
Feed them up. Knack. Head. And be cleared it away.
Yeah, and the reason I think, I'm focusing on the transition element is because what we haven't seen from Manchester City so far is their ability to break down this deep block of Leicester City. So as soon as they get back into their 5-4-1 organisation, it's been a real challenge to try and break it down.
That's a lovely ball from Knack. Finds Fagino. Feed him up. Against McLaughlin. Fagino. Against Kane. Feed him up. Running. Get it away.
But again, they're coming up against this dark little wall of players in central areas that are happy and strong enough to put their bodies on the line and get in the way of those chances.
8 consecutive wins for Manchester City since the match they won defeat to Chelsea. Kane chasing. Won't be able to keep the ball in play though. It will be a Manchester City throw. He certainly will be the happier of the two managers at this point, Rick Passmore.
Yeah, practically it's working. It's all the possession Manchester City has had. Chances on goal, clear-cut ones haven't been too frequent.
Tierney. O'Brien striding forward, Kane arriving, City getting back quickly. Neil's still there. Keeler Brown. Tigawa. Minutes away from McLaughlin.
Rick Passmore on the background. Stay in there. He wants to keep this high press going. Can they create anything from it? They've turned it over. And it's back to Manchester City again.
back into that back five that has served them so well so far. Kasperai, Fujino. She finds space. Fujino doesn't have the power on it, rolls it into the hands of Janina Leicester, and it remains goalless here at the King Power Stadium.
Yes, still goalless. But look, you could see the space that was just available for Fujino then. You know, on that quick transition of the turnover from the opposition half, she has the space for the 1v1 opportunity, and she makes the most of it. Obviously, the final shot wouldn't have been executed as well as she would have liked, but more space to exploit.
On occasions, Manchester City have had to dig deep and find late goals this season against Liverpool before the last international break, and of course against Arsenal, the Joy Stadium. Well, Harvey, Simon there, Sheila Brown brings it down, heavy touch, and it's played out by Denning.
Yeah, look, when Manchester City get into the wide areas, you can see they're bringing 3 or 4 players over there for quick combination play, but the detail just isn't good enough. Not to sound too harsh to anyone, but actually the ball needs to stick, and those one-touch passes need to be accurate enough to break down a type of organised defensive unit that they're coming up against today.
You can see in the average positions there just how tight-knit, narrow, compact Leicester City defence is. Doing them well so far. Van Egmond turns forward once again through O'Brien.
Really good defending from Rebecca Knack there. Look, she read the play really well, put her body on the line, and she's obviously very strong and able to deal with that 1v1 threat.
Someone else who's shown incredibly strength is the team throughout. We now takes the backward roll.
She's had a few knocks today, hasn't she?
Indeed. Playing a different role under Rick Passmore, suiting it well, stepping up with the responsibility and taking, well, a mouthful of that shoulder there. Correct. Leipzig. Thibaut. Van Egmond. To go backwards, whereas, well, the opportunity there, Jane, looks to be going forward into space.
Yeah, sorry, I was getting a few expressions out there, and I'm not sure why she didn't take her first touch forward. She had 20 yards of space in front of her and a runner in front, but yeah, decides against it.
Kasperai now picking up the loose ball. There's Shaw, Biedema, and Fujino ahead of that. Kasperai sweeping in, heading McLaughlin. And then in turn, Hasegawa. Known for attacking skills. Hannah Kane, good defensive work there. And we will have a substitute. And the changes come in the midfield as on comes Grace Clinton. Will be Sheila Brown, who's replaced. So far, more than Sheila Brown this season. What is it, Jane, that Clinton offers that's different to what we've seen from the England international?
Oh, many things. Look, at the end of the day, she's an attacking midfielder who has an eye for goal and is really good at exploiting spaces between lines, and we see it right now, first touch. But can she get opportunities to get that strike on goal today? We will see.
Scored on her debut. Against Spurs, short, stood up, Gino was chasing, again, Janina Leipzig wide to the threat. Well, a very slow trickle of goals today in the WSL. It is all level now. Manchester United, Shakira Martinez with an excellent strike to level things out against struggling Manchester United, looking to get back into for Leicester City. Game, a delayed kickoff, which is problems with the left-hand buff, and you can catch that on Sky Sports Next. Expecting more changes for Manchester City soon, as Carolyn prepares herself on the bench, and someone of course who can unlock defences as we see her do so regularly. International duty for Brazil and of course for Manchester City. Play, but it's just for the feet of Yanis Kaiman. Jade Rose will watch that back to Yamashita.
half-time, Ellen, changes potentially second half, and one of the areas I did think may change is these kind of wider midfield players for Leicester City as the game goes on, because they've gone through a huge amount of physical work today defensively, you know, and when they do break and they're trying to counter-attack, they're the players, the likes of Panic Dean and obviously O'Brien, who's just gone off, that are expected to go and create the attack. So physically a challenging game for them.
Carolyn doing exactly what she does best. Going in the corner.
Okay, quickly.
Tagawa. Urged to shoot.
But again, who's in the way? The centre back for Leicester City, and Beret doing a really good job positionally again.
Fujino. Hatagawa. Fujino again. Watched by Dennis Kyman. Picks up the charge. Hatagawa. Air of urgency around Manchester City now. Cat's right. She's urged to have a go. It seems off the back of Swaby.
But look, in all honesty, the majority of this game has been like an attack v defence training session. You know, the defence trying to lock things up.
Shaw has a chance and has the goal! A huge error from the Leicester City backline. And Khadija Shaw capitalises. 7 for the season in the WSL, and finally the wait rewarded for Manchester City.
And we can't question the final detail there from Buddy Shaw. Look, she had a few opportunities throughout the game today and hasn't managed to get that detail right, but no mistake in this opportunity. You see the ball coming out slightly in half-space area for Caroline. Ball goes in. There's a mistake from Beret. So disappointed for her. We've said how well she's done defensively, and she just mistimed this clearance, completely swung and missed it. And look, Bunny Shaw, a bit of time and space, get it down. It's a difficult one, you know, bouncing off the chest and then having to get a strike on target. But she's at the class, she's able to do those things, and I'm sure there's a bit of relief for Manchester City right now.
And no one's shoulders will drop more than Khadija Shaw. Relief marked across her face. 10 goals in 9 appearances against Leicester City. She had to be patient. And already you can see the impact made by Carolyn. An error, of course, from Bore, but it was the cross from Carolyn, who's charging forward once again here. That led to the goal. Carolyn keeps going. Has space. Carolyn across the face of goal. Kasparai didn't quite have the edge she needed to tap it in.
Yeah, you're right. She's had a great impact these last few minutes, Carolyn. She's changing the pace when she gets the ball. Look, she's happy to go in a 1v1 situation. Bit of a fake here, drops the shoulder, bit of a step, uses the space. You could say it was a good pass across, but it wasn't, because it wasn't, you know, getting to the player she needed it to. But she's a threat, isn't she? Whether it's on the right or the left. You know, she's created the assist on the right-hand side, and there we see her popping up on the left.
She is indeed previous NWSL MVP. Somebody struggled with injuries since arriving in Manchester. Disappointing, Jane. You mentioned it, of course, as the goal went in. Beret, you've been so good in the game so far.
I'm so disappointed for her, because, you know, she reads the game well, she goes to clear it, and she's just taken her eye off the ball at the wrong time. Obviously Manchester City have benefited from that, and look, I can't remember many other errors throughout the game that she's made, and unfortunately it's a big one, isn't it?
Well, this would temporarily at least extend Manchester City's lead to 6 points. Chelsea playing later on this afternoon as they face Everton. And here are the other games. Nearly goalless game now. Spurs against Aston Villa on Sky Sports Plus, all level in the Battle of the Skinners. Manchester United against West Ham United on Sky Sports next. That, of course, a delayed kickoff. Continues to come down here in Leicester. Watkins now back to her feet. Been an incredibly important player so far this season to Leicester after arriving from Rangers over summer. The old school way, Rick Castle, pen and paper, no iPads to be seen. But no goals in every game across the WSL as Jimmy Constable cleared away, 5-4-8. Goal for Aston Villa, and it's Kirsty Hansen who has scored it. 84th minute. Live on Sky Sports Plus. Of course, that game a little bit ahead of ours with the 8 minutes of additional time that was added on at the end of the first half.
I'm keen to see if Leicester City do actually change anything to try and get the goal back, try and get a point from this. They worked extremely hard throughout the match. Yes, more defensively than offensively. They've had to play a big chunk of the game without the ball. But, you know, they've been disciplined, well organised. The one error has led to the goal for Manchester City. But it'll be interesting to see if they change anything to try and get back into this game in the last 10 or so minutes.
It feels like things have stabilised and settled for Manchester City after that goal. They'll be hungry for more. Carolyn. Fry ahead of her. Carolyn. Well, just a minute and 10 seconds between the two goals. Tottenham Hotspur and Beth England has now equalised after the Kirsty Hansen strike. Going into that one, you can catch it on Sky Sports Plus. No doubt Spurs will be chasing a late winner in that game as they look to get themselves back into the top four. Kasparai has space ahead of her. Shaw arriving in the area. Carolyn there is an option. Carolyn stood up. Vincent going back to Carolyn. Looping ball, wiped out by the goalkeeper, and out for a corner.
Combining into Vincent and Carolyn, obviously the delivery in. Goalkeeper seems to have lost where she is. Thought she's actually going to come and claim that, but not quite.
Hattigawa. Shaw there to nod it down. Foul on the goalkeeper. Now it's end. Manchester City will have made their best ever start to a WSL season. Oh, change. Just look at that for a stat. Only one touch in the opposition box for Leicester. 53 for Manchester City.
That's the story of the game, isn't it? But you can look at it in different ways. I think, you know, defensively they've dealt with that threat for the majority of the game. Leicester City, even from a Manchester City perspective, they'll be disappointed not to have scored more than one goal in this game.
China, Belgian international. All right. Chasing, takes into the arms of start. On our way to a third clean sheet. Well, if it's another clean sheet, but there's the young sheet that must have been hard fought. The win certainly will be. Carolyn. Carolyn again. Getting in there. Words for Brooklyn. Well, it's been given as a corner. Well, the fans of the Manchester City was raising the boos, Jane. They felt that they should have had a penalty here.
Oh, it's a physical challenge, isn't it? Look, Carolyn's been a threat since she's come on this pitch. Oh, and she does, yeah, from behind that looks like a clear-cut penalty. She takes that touch, then the defender comes in and clears her out.
Well, you can understand why the Manchester City fans aren't happy. Lauren Hemp, power on the corner, headed down by Carolyn. Oh, Bunny Shaw is in! And it's two for Bunny Shaw. They had the body. Played so perfectly by Lauren Hemp. And it's a brace for Bunny Shaw.
This is what top-level centre-forwards do. You know, she's had a few chances today, but finishes neither. This is all of the defenders around her. She reads the ball really well. Defenders get drawn to the ball, a bit of space behind their backs, and she exploits that space. You can see, look, she's physically strong enough to deal with any pressure. Good contact, gets it down. Goalkeeper! She's going to challenge the goalkeeper on position and a reaction there. Could she have come and playing? Maybe. But look, let's take nothing away from Bunny Shaw in that finish. She struggled to get that detail on her finishes up until the last few minutes of this game, but top centre forward, too cold.
2 goals for Khadija Shaw, 9 this season. And suddenly Manchester City looked like a threat. They had the players arriving, all the runners towards the back post. Shaw was there, stood strong, nodded home. And it's Manchester City who lead by 2 goals to 0. Right, Carolyn. Have the pace to get there. No, she's been electric since she came on. On comes Gisela Ryan and Nelly Lass. You both have been very busy today, keeping the players removed. Manchester United have taken the lead. Dominic Janssen with the goal on the 71st minute from a free kick. Past the goalkeeper, and it is now Manchester United who lead. You can catch that game on Sky Sports next. Carolyn plays it across, looking for Bunny Shaw. Clinton was there as well. Making a strong case, player of the match after coming on in the second half. We wondered whether we might see her at half-time. That's the impact that we know Carolyn can have, and she might find a way past here for a goal of her own. Skip forward, Carolyn! Well saved by Janina Leipzig. She'll have another go. She waits. Carolyn trying to slide it through the leg. They'll have a corner.
I don't disagree, Alan. If she'd have put that one in the back of the net, it probably would be played of the match. Even though she hasn't had too much of time on the pitch today, she's been so impactful. Look, you can see she touched in years and she manages to get the ball in the strike. Goalkeeper stands up well, gets the first clearance. But Carolyn seems to pause a bit too long on that ricochet. You know, could she have made a decision a little bit quicker to create a little bit of space for herself to get this shot off earlier? The goalkeeper does well. We can play again.
Hemp with another corner, looking for the head of Bunny Shaw once again. It's punched away. Is anyone there to force it over? Carolyn will send the strike in, but it's Janina Leipzig who got sent into the back of the net. I think it was Rebecca Knack who was there shoulder to shoulder with her. Now the last time that Lauren Hemp sent a corner in like that, it was Bunny Shaw who nodded it into the back of the net. That was not far away from going in directly from the corner. For the 90 left to play. Manchester City leading by 2 goals to 0. A Bunny Shaw brace. Hard work paying off. Head. Get onto it, sending it through the legs of Gazmita Ale. More time to play because this Iman Benny is warming up on the sidelines, and the impact that she's had against the likes of Liverpool and more importantly Arsenal with that late winner. Chases on here, Rosella Ryan. Shoulder of Kirsten Casteroy. Right, biding her side. The Gower. They had to wait for Leicester City to open up. As soon as they did, Bunny Shaw pounce. Carolyn against Gray. Throw for City, and well, the substitution will happen before the throw can be taken. And it's Lauren Hemp who got towards the fans as she makes her way off the pitch. Iman Bennett, the signing of the summer across the WSL. Swiss international, scored on international duty. In the defeat to Wales, I
had to get that one out there. Sorry everybody, but yes, Wales beat Switzerland in the week. Great result, good.
For the Wales boss, Jane Ludlow. City, defended by Dennis Chyman. Pacino. Again, Chyman, he moves it away. And Manchester City find another. Good. Peter Ale, he's taken a few blows in this game. Gowan. Wahhabi. Clinton against Chyman. Almost loses out in recovery. Minutes of additional time added on. Clinton, looping ball. Takes a deflection, it will be a corner. Olivia Holt in exceptional form this season has scored deep into injury time to give Spurs surely the victory against Aston Villa. Ball from Hafta Gowell towards the keeper. Carolyn will have a go. Well, blocked by Squaby. Carolyn still on the ball here. Carolyn going. the City defence. And Benny keeps the way round. Benny sent up. Shaw! Well, almost a hat-trick. Down, so it will be a free kick for Leicester City. And while they take it, Jane, your Barclays player of the match today, well, was there ever in doubt?
Yes, this second half, Kadisha Bunny Shaw is going to take those plaudits today. 2 goals. Look, we were a little bit critical of her and the chances she has prior to the latter part of this game, but she is a top centre forward and she's made those goals count now. But her team were probably going to take away the 3 points because of those 2 goals that she scored this second half.
Well, a smile on her face there. She's positioned on the shoulder of her international teammate Chantal Swaby. Simon. Clear goal kick for Leicester. Halfway through the 6 additional minutes. Pushing the ball well. Short. That's it, Mayan. Martin International. He does well to win the ball back. Short. Through to Carolyn. Surely! And it's in! And it's through! And it's the substitute who has made all the difference for Manchester City. Her return well marked. The game put to bed.
And the third Manchester City goal has come from the 2 players who've been so impactful this second half of the game. Obviously we see Bunny Shaw picking it up, but what a really well-timed detailed pass to break that back line. And Carolyn has had a huge impact since coming onto this pitch in the second half. She changed the pace of the game for Manchester City. You know, she's created chances for her teammates, but what a great finish for herself there to finish the game off.
Her first goal since the final day in the WSL last season against Crystal Palace. And of course a word for the assist as well there from Bunny Shaw, who is regularly overlooked, let's say, for how she can provide in the build-up to goals, as well as her, of course, her goal-scoring prowess. It's time for them to click into gear, but 3 goals. Only full performance in the second half from Manchester City. We just had to look at the impact that she made against Spurs when she came on in the first half, when Lauren Hemp went down injured with that ankle injury that saw her out of competition for 6 games. And now a real exciting prospect of having Carolyn on the pitch and how she'll interact with, of course, the attacking talent that Manchester City have. That includes Iman Benny, who taste to burn there.
The Manchester City squad is a squad full of talent, and you know, the fact that the substitutes have come on today and they've had a really good positive impact on the team is obviously going to be something pleasing for Andre Iglesias and his staff team.
Kane headed up by Flanagan, and that will be that. Well, they will for now extend their lead at the top of the table, Manchester City. Their best ever start to a WSL season. 9 wins from 10 games. Bunny Shaw, patient and rewarded. A brace
they've got the depth and other players that they can bring on. Carolyn, other players that we didn't see today, that's why you need to have a squad.
All right, any reactions to come then to that win for Manchester City? Leicester City did well to hold them back, but 3-0 winners, City in the end. And that's one of 5 games in the WSL today. Of those midday kick-offs, Brighton have beaten London City 1-0. Spurs are 2-1 winners over Aston Villa, and that's the latest score that Manchester United West Ham. There's a 15-minute delay to kick off in that one, so 2-1 Manchester United currently leads West Ham. That Chelsea Everton game is a 2:30 kick-off. So this one, as it stands, table at the moment, because that Manchester United West Ham game is still ongoing. As it stands, then United up to 3rd above Arsenal. Spurs stay 5th. Leicester 9th, worrying times to them. Everton up against Chelsea in that late match. Liverpool, of course, rock bottom, still looking for their first win. No spoilers from us in the F1, but it is well worth a watch over on Sky.